Everybody, and thank you for coming to the third of the Steel Talks. My name is Fidia Falaschetti. I am the artist of the piece you've seen in front of the Brera de Pinacoteca, which is a big totem made in collaboration with Angelino Artworks. So Angelino Artworks is a reality that makes sculpture for artists, big scale and monumental scale and any other scale. So we made this collaboration hosted by Roberta Basta. This is one of the most interesting talk because we are hosting Ashley Kalimbo. Ashley will introduce herself way better than me. And she's a great voice for the rights of indigenous people of North America, especially the women's rights, and she can go through a lot of very important things that have to be known about the indigenous community of North America. And she's also my partner, which inspired me to make the totem. So the totem has 7 blocks, 4 of which were made in 2017, and then invited by Angelino Artworks to present the totem here in Milan. I decided to ask to Ashley if she would like to inspire me to make 3 new blocks that are mostly telling things more about indigenous people, because I would like to, my totem is about consumerism, my part of the totem, but now I would like to go through a healing process, because that's what I, as a Western guy, Western artist, could say in 2017. And now with Ashley, thanks God, we receive a lot of very good and important vibes, and the 3 blocks are just creating this dialogue in between the Western society, which you represent, and the indigenous society that Ashley represents. So please welcome Ashley Kalimbo. I'll leave the microphone. She's a great speaker, so and she has a lot of interesting things to share with you guys. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for having me here. It's my first time being at Milan Design Week and also my first time in Milan, so very thankful to be in this space. When Fidia asked me about collaborating, for me, it's about reconciliation and building bridges between non-Indigenous people and Indigenous people. There's a lot of things that Indigenous people still face. That's why it's referred to as Still 1492, because, oh, that's not me, technical difficulties.
Yeah, I think it's, right?
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So the reason why it's still called Still 1492 is because Indigenous people still face the same things that we're dealing with back in the day. For example, like Indigenous, should I?
Yeah, I think it's,
I think you just want me closer to you? Should I talk louder?
no, I think it's some problem with the cable.
Oh, it's
I
this.
think it's here. Try. Yeah.
I'll hold it really tight. So the things that Indigenous people still face, for example, in my community, a lot of us are still living in third world poverty. And I'm from Canada, so I'm from the Enoch Cree Nation, which is in Alberta. I'm a Plains Cree woman. I grew up on the reserve. Both my grandparents are residential school survivors. If you don't know what that is, this continued till 1996. So what happened is the government created this boarding school called a residential school. If you were 5 to 16, it was legal for the police to come to your home if you're an Indigenous person and take your kids. And if you didn't, you would go to jail or you could be killed. And these residential schools were created to, they called it kill the Indian in us. And the reason why they were created is when they go into these schools, they cut their hair. You're not allowed to speak your language and you have to learn a different way of life because they didn't think that we were civilized. And both my grandparents went to residential school. Both of them have endured terrible things at the hands of other people in those schools. And a lot of times when people have overcome and gotten out of those schools, intergenerational trauma was created, and it also happened to me. So intergenerational trauma is, you know, when that pain reflects onto the next generation and it carries through. That's why a lot of Indigenous people turn to drugs and alcohol, and it's because to numb the pain of what we felt, because we were always told it's not okay to be ourselves. And I, to this day, even in Canada, I experience racism at a very extreme level. We also have a huge problem. It's called murdered and missing Indigenous women. So me being an Indigenous woman is very difficult in my country and also in the United States because people don't value our lives. For example, a cousin of mine went missing, and we knew that her body was dumped in the landfill, but the government refused to look for her. They said that we weren't important enough, and that was our previous prime minister from a few elections back, said that our lives aren't of value, and that's normal in Canada. But if it was someone that wasn't Indigenous, they would look right away. So our lives are not valued. The fact that we live in third world poverty, I was explaining to someone earlier that, you know, a lot of reservations have to boil water to get clean water. We don't have access. We don't have resources or people that are supporting us. So when you see Indigenous people thriving, it's almost like we're overcoming what was built to be against us. You know, this society that we were no longer welcome in. But with this, I think it's so important for non-Indigenous people to learn the true history of what's going on in Indigenous communities throughout North America, not just in the past, but now, because it's not about just speaking up for us, it's about showing up, because I feel like it's not my place to educate people. Yes, I would love to, but it's very important for you to know this on your own. And Indigenous people throughout the world also face the exact same things. But to me, it's about how do you overcome a system that was created to break you, to destroy you. For me, I turned to my culture. I was very thankful that my grandparents, when they left the school, they turned their lives around. They told themselves that no one's gonna take their culture. That's the one thing my grandpa, my mushum, told me. He said, that's the most powerful thing you have is your culture, and no one can ever take it away from you. You can carry it with you wherever you go. And they both became a medicine man and medicine woman, so they actually run sweat lodges and ceremonies. So I grew up very traditional on the reserve. Every week we were doing something that made us stronger and healed us. And with this, and also reconciliation, it's about moving forward, but also overcoming things together. So with the blocks, I'll start with the bottom one that I helped out with my thoughts. He carved everything. The bottom is supposed to represent the rock, the purest thing of the earth. That's actually, my Cree name is Shining Rock, which is Awawasaskini in Cree. So I thought it was really amazing that this rock, because it is the purest thing in the earth, and Indigenous people are so close to the land, we give everything back to the land. But most importantly, what grows from it. And it's the medicines that keep us strong, that keep us connected to the land. So we have medicines that are coming out of the rocks. And on the back, if you want to turn it around, because I'm holding the mic, we have the bear paw, and the bear paw in Cree, in my language, is Masqua. And to us, they are spiritual beings that are extremely connected to the land, and they represent motherhood and strength. So to us, like, they are a spiritual being, and something you don't know is that we Indigenous people, when we speak our traditional language, we can talk to the animals, and they understand us, and they react to it, because we are meant to come from this world, and the connections that we have are through all living beings. So a lot of Native kids, when they speak to bears, the bears will react to the language, but not English. So I think that's really powerful and impactful. You can put it down, thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, the cedar and the sage. So these are the medicines that we use that you can pick from the bush. And what we do is we use them in traditional medicines, or we burn them, and it's a spiritual way of us cleansing and also using prayer, but protection for us. So it's really important, and plus it smells beautiful. Thank you, love.
Yeah.
And the next piece You want to grab it?
I
Or you know what, just leave it there.
Easier, but I
Yeah.
can turn when you.
Yeah.
There is
So-
a messing wheel in the back.
I really, really love this piece. The eye, about seeing the future and also the past. That's what it feels like to me. Underneath the eye, if you see that braid, it's actually sweetgrass. And to us, that is another traditional medicine that we use to burn, to cleanse, to purify ourselves. And the reason why we braid it is because we want to show gratitude for the things that we pick from the land by treating it with care and being delicate. And braids, if you also see Indigenous people, when we wear braids and we also grow our hair very long, the reason why we do that is because our hair is our strength and it holds our stories. So when someone passes in our family, that is when we cut our hair, that's when we shed the cycle. So I think that's really impactful, and having a braid, it's like a continuation of something. It's also that connection that just keeps going. And for us, that's really beautiful and impactful. On the back of the totem, bet you didn't even see that, did you? So there's the medicine wheel there. The medicine wheel is comprised of 4 different elements. 4 elements which could be emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual. And that's how we carry ourselves. And also the medicine wheel, it represents our life cycle. So the beginning is when you're born and the end is elderhood. And it shares our stories, but also it represents the seasons. So like spring, summer, fall, winter. And it's our way of connecting also with the elements of the earth and our way of connecting with the animals and our way of showing like what we're going through in this life cycle. And there's 4 different, like on here there isn't colors because we're going with pink and it's very beautiful that way. But if you see the 4 different colors, they're yellow, white, red, and black. And also with the feathers, which I think are so beautiful. For Indigenous people, our eagle feathers is one of the most honorable things that you can ever receive. To see an eagle, that means good blessings. That means that there's good messages coming around you. And if you ever see an eagle fly above you, if it starts to circle, more blessings. It's an amazing thing to see. So when you're given an eagle feather, it's representative of like an honor, something that you've done, because you can't just go and get eagle feathers as an Indigenous person. You have to be gifted them. So when I dance powwow, I'm a I dance jingle dress, powwow dancing, and I wear like my traditional, staying very still. I wear like my regalia and my feathers and my eagles and my plumes, and to me, it gives me strength. I'll let you hold it, babe. Thank you. I was holding it good earlier. Maybe I'll hold it like that. But I apologize. So for me, the eagle, it represents life, and it's also a spirit to us, and that's why it's in the sky. And the reason why we honor it so highly is because it flies closest to the Creator up in the sky, which I will explain in the next one, which is to my right. This beautiful cloud formation. One thing Indigenous people truly believe in is that we came from the stars. We come from the universe. So for us, our stories originate in the sky, and that's where we go back when we pass over. So for on this, in the clouds, it represents the universe. The stars represent our stories, and to me, the water, it represents the element of purification and purifying the earth and cleansing. But one thing that I think is so beautiful that no one knows, so I don't know if you guys can see Northern Lights or Aurora Borealis around anywhere, but if you do, to us, those are spirits. And when you watch them, they dance. Those are our people dancing and sharing their stories, and it originates on forever, forever, and it's something that is really powerful. That's why when we see them, we don't point at them, we acknowledge and we honor, and we make sure we do it with respect because we know that's where our stories come from. So for us, you know, our universe, it starts first in the earth, giving respect and also giving back. Say if I'm hunting, you always give back to the land, and whatever you hunt, you eat. And it's a traditional way of, you know, not wasting. and also giving back. But having our medicines, being able to pick from the land and then being able to share it with people and having that intertwine of the sweetgrass showing also the wings that represent our strength and how high we fly close to the Creator, our strength coming from the eagle feathers and how it's an honor. But most importantly, to me, it's that everyone comes from the universe. And I feel that us Indigenous people were able to share so much of how we are able to overcome, but mostly how we rely on the land for medicines and how it's very traditional instead of relying on modern medicine. I found so much healing in my culture. My culture actually saved my life. My culture was the one thing that kept me on my path and still does, and it gives me so much strength. And to be able to share it with Vidya and show that Indigenous people, we can thrive. We have everything that we need. But Western society, there's certain things that are against us that we have to overcome, but we want to show that it's still prevalent now. It's not something that just happened and it's over. And because people today, they tell me, why don't you just get over it? What happened to your people? And I'm like, I can't, because it's still happening. So with this totem, still 1492, it represents a collaboration of the spirit and the strength of Indigenous people, but also what they have overcome and what they continue to fight. But it shows that we're still standing tall and that we're still here and we're rising. So thank you so much for listening to me. That is my take on the totem, on the pieces that we work together. So thank you.
Well, it's pretty artful. It's pretty hard to add something else right now because it's.
I took everything.
It's just the sun, the symbol of the sun that is on the back of. Do you say about it?
No. So there's also a beautiful symbol of the sun that a beautiful symbol of the sun that Indigenous people use, and you can even see that carved back in the day on different walls. So everything we carry from the past, we carry it to now, something that we can always share with the next generation. So Indigenous people always think about the 7 generations, the next generation.
Thank you. If you have any question, we can just ask you if you want to ask Ashley any question. What I can add is that for me is a privilege to have that opportunity to create this dialogue, because the most important thing to have you here guys, today, and the people online that are going to listen to it, is that a lot of people, as per my experience in my country, they don't know much about Indigenous people in North America. They don't know much. Sometimes people are just questioning, so there's still Indigenous people there? Yeah. And it's like this is something normal, thinking that's their land. That's what belongs to them, and they should be there, and unfortunately in North America, in Canada, I think Indigenous people are like, what, 2% of population, 3% of population? So, and this population need to be seen and heard, and I'm very thankful that Ashley came today here and talk a little bit about what they go through, and also, as she said, there's many Indigenous people in the world, in any other countries, they're going through very similar things. Because unfortunately, me as a citizen and born and raised in the Western society in Italy, very often I see that we try to export democracy and rightness, righteousness, when we're not asked for that many times, most of the times. And also, who are we to say that what we think and do is better than wherever and whatever other people in other country and culture do? So I think we should really ask for permission anywhere we go, if we need our help, first of all, if we need our opinion. And the dialogue is just like that. The dialogue is a dialogue, it's not an imposition. We need to just talk for real, because sometimes, like xenophobia, the word xenophobia I don't know if you guys know, but comes from Greece. And Xenos, he was a traveler, and he was traveling among the island, and many islands would not accept him because it was different. It was a different than what they knew. So the Western society think that what is different is bad. That what is different has to be erased or just cover up with something else. And I think that's what indigenous people have been going through since they've been discovered. They're not being discovered, they were there for like centuries and thousands of years, like thriving, and this mic is it's like is struggling, as you know, the as the conversation. So I think that's really important to open a dialogue, especially for us and for everybody, because we are a single, you know, humanity. We are like a big family and in the world, and we are all different. Even in this room, we are all different. We have our habits and traditions and so on. And I truly believe that we need to open up this conversation, because as we see, you know, still in 2026, people are struggling, you know, and I'm part of the world that is not struggling. I'm part of the privileged world, like the smallest percentage of the citizens of the world, but the majority of the people of the world are struggling. And what she said about her community, and there's many other communities, and the majority of the communities in the world are struggling. So I think that as a first world citizen, our duty is to just embrace that, understand that, and to do something, to just put the light on those realities, put the light of, you know, what she said about her cousin. It just gave me goosebumps, because that particular thing I didn't know. And everything, take it off? Okay. Yeah, because it's, so everything that's going on is really like kept happening. The story is repeating itself, and that's a shame, because we should definitely, you know, like build something new. We are, you know, I hope the new generation and everything. So I think that dialogue is very important. And first of all, my totem is definitely an homage to the indigenous people of North America, to First Nations, to people that have been, you know, like in years that have been living there, in 13 years have been living there, like slowly and like very politely and very respectfully. I start to get, even before meeting her, I was just, you know, and it's not easy, because of course there's a lot, they're strong in defending and protecting their culture. And I don't blame for that, because of course, whenever we went there, we just, you know, stole that's a lot of there. And even like the cultural appropriation I was talking about the other day, there's a lot of brands, like fashion brands, that be taking, you know, those symbols from their cultures and making billions of dollars and never giving back. And by the way, it's important to say that also the part of the profit of the sales of this project is gonna be donated to the associations in Canada that Ashley chose.
So
And
I can tell them. So the
yeah, please.
association, it raises funds to give art projects and art supplies to Northern Indigenous communities. And these communities are hard to get to in Canada. Like, they're fly-in communities. You either fly in, or you drive on the ice road. I know that sounds crazy, but you literally wait for the ice to freeze, and that's how you drive. That's how hard it is to get to these communities. But these kids, they don't have access to express themselves in an artistic way, and they want to, but to get out here, it's so hard. So for us, it's like, bring the magic to them so they have it, they can express themselves, but also feel like they can do anything. Because when I came from the reserve, like growing up on the reserve as a little girl, you don't have big dreams, because all you see is what's around you. You're a product of your environment. But to feel like you're being seen and heard by other people, and you feel valued, that changes how you feel about yourself, and it makes your life feel worthy, and it makes you feel like, what else can I do? What else can I overcome, and who can I become? So for us to give back to these youth, that's really what's so important, and that's about, you know, impacting the next generation. And if you do that, they carry that positive ripple effect with them, and they impact the next group of kids. So it was really important for me, and also for Fidia, to make sure that we're making an impact as well.
Yeah, it's anytime I fly over when I go to Canada, either United States, you fly over the land and you see such a amazing, and even driving, such an amazing space, and it's so absurd to think that that's been, complete colonized in a way, and the indigenous people are just relegated to reservations, giving them just a little portion of land, like that's a present that us, we're giving you to a land that it did not belong to us. So, and again, guys, this is still happening. It's still happening very close to our country here as well. Nowadays, I'm not gonna make names, but you already know what I'm talking about, and just like people just thinking that the land that do not belong to whoever been living there for like centuries, and builds a lot of like crossing cultures and connections and stuff, and then we arrive. But why? Because, I mean, sorry if I use that word that I shouldn't use, but it's a bullshit. The narrative that we're going there to bring a better life. Anything happened because those kind of territories, they're needed for some reason. They're needed because they're full of resources. They're full of very precious, like minerals or like oil and so on. So they need that land, and I believe that as citizen of the first world right now, we have to just, really fight for that and just raise our voice. So do we like that? Do we like, people being abused and just like treated as they like a class B or C or D or Z of society, and we think we are of the class A? So I think nowadays even more is very important to do so, and I believe that the art I do, and many artists do, like, and I do in an ironic way, but of course my irony is like, the comedian are always like very nice people, they laugh and this, but that deep down, that they said they're like pissed about something that's happening. That's why they make some jokes, sarcasm and so on. So I truly believe that this totem, that Ashley, way more than me, inspired you, and then we can just go on in a better society, because we have to open our eyes. Turning our head to the other side when things happen is not fair. Especially for us that living like a very, very healthy, wealthy, and good life. So as an artist, I think is really, yes, we need to give back. We need to just support whoever needs to be supported. And this project is pretty much doing that. And Ashley, with her work, because she didn't say that, but she's...
I didn't really introduce myself.
Yeah, but...
I'll kind of introduce myself now. My name's Ashley. I'm from the Enoch Cree Nation, which is in Alberta, so it's northern Alberta. I don't know if you guys know where Edmonton is, but everyone knows where Vancouver is. That's a 12-hour drive from where I'm from. So I'm like kind of in the middle of, well, not nowhere, but up there. And I grew up on the reserve, and I've actually accomplished a lot in my life, and it's quite surprising because I'm Indigenous. So a lot of the things that I've overcome or have accomplished, people in those spaces have told me specifically, like, you don't belong here. And for me, I try to create this mentality and share it with other kids and other women. It's like, no, you belong wherever you want to belong. You have to think like that. So growing up, I really chased my education. I chased things that I thought were going to protect me. And also because of my culture, I realized that gave me strength. And I thought, where can I carry this? How can I show people that I'm a proud Indigenous woman? And I actually became an actress. So I'm an actress in Canada. I'm on several different TV series, and they're on Netflix, so you can watch them, I think, worldwide, which is awesome. I'm also a model. So I was actually the first Indigenous woman to become a Sports Illustrated model, which is pretty cool. As that's something I never thought I could do. There's a lot of things that I've done as a first. I was also in 2024, I was the first Indigenous woman to win the title of Miss Universe Canada. And I went and competed at Miss Universe. And I also made sure that everyone heard my voice there too. It wasn't just about standing in a space and being like, hey. To me, when I'm given an opportunity to be in different spaces, I use my voice as an impact to resonate with other people and reach people. So when I went to compete at Miss Universe, I was wearing a red pin, a red dress pin, that represents murdered or missing Indigenous women. Everywhere I went, my sash said Canada, but had this huge pin. And that's exactly why we're having a dialogue. People would come up to me and be like, what does that mean? And that's my way of educating people. And I remember on finals night, right before I was supposed to compete at rehearsals, one of the stage directors was like, Canada, come here. And they're like, that pin tonight, it's coming off. You're not making no political statements tonight on this stage. And I didn't want to argue with him because I was going to do it anyway. So I just said to him, yeah, okay, sure. But later on, I was like, you never let anyone silence you, especially if you're speaking for others who aren't being heard. And when I wore that pin, made it to the top 12, pointed at it every single time. So regardless of like the things that I do, like I'm also an in-game sports host. So I work in television for the National Hockey League, for the Canadian Football League, the National Lacrosse League. So sports is like a big part of my life, and it's also a big impact for me because I'm an Indigenous woman and a female in a male-dominated industry. So one thing that I do as well is when I do these events or do different hosting, I actually mentor and bring a young Indigenous woman with me who's, taking communications or acting or modeling, whatever space I'm in, because it's about opening the door and giving them that access, because it was so hard for me to like kick that door open for myself. But now that I kick that door open, it's wide open for other people to walk and be in those spaces as well. So yes, it's hard to be the first, but the most important thing is that I won't be the last Indigenous person doing those things. And you may not like see it here in Italy, but if you look it up, there are so many Indigenous people that are thriving in different spaces, like doctors, astronauts. Like we've had a first Indigenous person go to the moon already. Nobody knows that. And we have amazing actresses. One that was nominated for an Oscar a couple years ago for Best Actress, Lily Gladstone. We have all these people that are, making their mark and moving their way up to show that we are here, we are rising, and we belong wherever we want to belong. So that's the mentality that I carry regardless of what I do. And like I wear many hats, but to me, it's important to think, well, why not? Why can't I? And that's the mentality I want to give Indigenous people, is that, there are no limits for us, even though society has tried to create them. We are limitless in this universe.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Do you guys have any question, maybe?
Yeah, and don't be shy, and don't feel like. Also, another thing Indigenous people would like non-Indigenous people to know is that, yes, you are welcome to attend our events, our powwows, our ceremonies. You just do it out of respect.
Could you explain what's a powwow? Because I think...
So a powwow, it's a traditional event where we come together, we do our traditional dances. Like for me, if you go on Instagram on Angelino Artworks, you could see my photo of me dancing in my jingle dress. And for us at a powwow, it's our way to like celebrate each other and celebrate our dances. And a lot of non-Indigenous people are always scared. Can I go? Can I watch? Can I be a part of this?
Including myself. The first one when
he
I was
so
going
worried.
there, I was like...
He was like, will they accept me? And I was like, of course. So we love it when people ask questions and when people want to learn, because it means that you care, like you genuinely care. It's not just like, oh, whatever, you guys are, dealing with on your own or whatever, but to care and to actually take that time. And we love welcoming people into the powwow circle. We even encourage you to come in and dance with us in your own, and we always say dance your own style, your own way. So there is no wrong way, but it's always about being respectful. And we love that because we want non-Indigenous people to take part in these things. We want us to get stronger together, because that's how we move forward, making a better future, is by understanding each other, creating that dialogue, but most importantly, educating yourself. So for a powwow, we would love for you guys to come. There's actually so many powwows that happen all year long. And even our ceremonial events, it's all about just being respectful and asking questions. And that's the only way to go about it. We are a people, you probably don't know, but what I was taught, especially from my grandparents, being a medicine man and medicine woman, when someone comes to ask for help, you don't say no. You don't send people away. You always open your arms to them. That's why we're very giving people. For example, like say, even if an elder comes up to me, we're so giving. An elder comes up to me, Ashley, I love your earrings. That is how we are.
That's why yesterday she was having a very good jacket, and I said, I
Nice.
love the jacket.
And I was like, you're not an elder. Leave me alone.
Come on, I'm the elder, you know. Just
I was like,
joking.
not happening. But we are extremely giving people, and we're so open, and we have really big hearts. Indigenous people, we really love making people laugh. So if we pick on you, we're not really picking on you. That means we like you. We're like laughing with you. Humor is also a healing medicine for us. It's our way to kind of overcome the things that we went through. So we are always welcoming people. We're always hoping that you will want to take part and get to know us more and learn more about us, because then it will be normal. It will be normal to see, Indigenous people walking out, like me walking around in something like this, maybe not this big outside, but, to see it and know what it is and recognize us. That is what's the most important thing, is being seen, heard, and valued.
If you plan to go on a trip usually they happen between like spring and autumn, beginning of autumn,
yeah.
summer. So seek out for powwows, because it's an amazing experience. I mean, I've been to few, like 6, 7, in mostly like in the United States, and I will go now in Canada, and they're really like, especially if you do like art made by indigenous people, you find there not like souvenirs, you find there like people like nailing it and making great,
Like
like this, for instance. This is this is very dear because she present me with this. You can explain what a medallion is.
So this is a beaded medallion. So my friend from VBK Beadwork made this, and these are actually hand stitched. So it's one bead at a time. So when you see this, like, it takes so much time to make these, and it's always on some type of hide that you can smell, which is really beautiful. But our medallions are a way of like expressing ourselves, or are they representing like our tribe, or even like sports. Say I'm a big fan of the Edmonton Oilers. I work for the Oilers hockey team. I have a beaded Oilers medallion. But it's showing that like we are artists ourselves, but to us, beadwork like this is actually our luxury. Like diamonds is luxury to people, but our art like this is actually our luxury, and it's not cheap because it takes time, the materials, and like even this, it's I think this is Dentilium. So it's very hard to like put these things together. That's why I say we go to a powwow or we see people selling things, you're like, oh my God, like it's so beautiful, and like it takes time, and that's why people pay good money for it, because the value of it, and also the craftsmanship, the quality, and what it represents, and you're basically representing that artist as well wherever you go and when you wear that. So to us, we're always wearing beadwork. But don't ask me for my earrings. I'm not giving them away. Nobody tell me they like them. So yes, it's our way of expressing ourselves. And also in my regalia, what I wear at powwows, like I have beaded moccasins, leggings, cuffs, like headband, everything is beaded. And what we do is we bead in either what represents our nation, like I'm Cree, we'll have like Cree like floral designs because we're into florals. So every time you see an Indigenous person, where you go to a powwow, they're Indigenous people from all over, you can tell what kind of Indigenous person they are, mostly by their beadwork and how they represent themselves, and also by their moccasins as well. So it's really an interesting way to show who we are, but like in a proud way. But Indigenous people, like there's so many of us, but we are all different. I think a lot of people think that Indigenous people are all the same. Say in Europe, I don't know, someone from like Belarus and Italy, I know you're European, but you're not the same, right? Like you don't speak the same language, not the same background. So for us, I think there's over 600 different tribes in Canada, and there's like so many different languages. There's so many different languages, and we all speak our own. So
I would like to learn the Cree language, and she said, it's not gonna be, come on, and say, I speak like 5 languages, and she says some words, and say, yeah, it's complicated.
yeah.
Different alphabet, different pronunciation is really
and the syllabics and everything.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful language, and that's the one thing too that that we can't lose is our language, because that's something that we can carry forever, and also how we talk to the animals. Yeah.
interesting thing that I would like to share with them is that I did share yesterday that before the white man came, there were no confini borders. There were no
Yeah.
borders. So Canadian native and there are some tribes that are like in between United States and Canada, but they
At the
have
border. So for
they,
us, this is interesting. So Indigenous people, we never believed in borders. They didn't exist. So Indigenous people from America and like Mexico, we consider them like our brothers and sisters. There's relation. And also a lot of them when they were, what's his name came over.
well,
A lot of them
yeah,
escaped
yeah.
to Canada. A lot of them had to come up to Canada. But for us, there's this thing called the Jay Treaty that was created for Canadian natives. So this is like one of our little benefits is I can cross the border in the US and go back and forth freely without being questioned or asked. I could live there, work there, have my social security. But natives from the
United
US,
States,
they can't do that. They can't do it at all. So it's so different. But those things were created to, separate us. But thankfully, we created a treaty that needs to be honored. So I'm from Treaty 6. There's so many different treaties that need to be honored, and to this day are honored under the Crown. And that's why, like, we still have our land. And that's why you can't sell it.
Yeah. Questions? If you guys have questions, I think that's
I was very informative.
don't be shy.
Yeah,
Okay,
don't be
here
shy.
it is.
Okay, so thank you so much for the inspiring talk. And is there a plan to take this campaign global? And what would be the strategy to scale it further?
Do you want?
There is a plan too.
Oh,
Sorry.
is there a plan to take this campaign forward more so?
Make
Yeah.
it global because it's very inspiring.
I think it is already global by the fact that it's in Milan. She's from Canada. I've been living in the US, still living there, considering right now because of the situation what to do. But I think it is already international. But yes, definitely the totem pole will be, collected by collectors all over the world because we have is an edition of 6 plus 2. And so maybe it would have been bought by people where you come from, for instance.
Thailand.
So maybe it will be collected by people in Thailand, and then so that's probably the internationality of it. That's the purpose of it, because that dialogue that is between me and her is gonna be spread all over the world, and it's gonna open dialogue with other communities. But we absolutely open to just bring. On an exhibition and on a project everywhere in the world, that would be even more like telling the stories somewhere else.
Yeah. I mean, I would love that. I would love for everyone to see this piece in different parts of the world because it does get that dialogue going. I noticed a lot of people when they came up, they were pointing at different things about the totem and trying to like figure it out themselves. And a lot of people were able to understand, which was great. And that's the message that we want to go forward. So I would love that to go even more global, universal.
I have a question about this one. Just now you introduce like 4 pieces of the meanings behind it. So also I think each of the pieces they have different meanings.
Yes.
Yeah. But why you put this together? This is the first question. And for the order of this different sculpture, do you have any significant meaning or something behind?
I'll explain like the
Yes.
order. And so the reason why we put these different blocks together was to create that dialogue, and also with the pieces that he already created, it shows what's going on in our society and what people are facing, like saying if they're turning to drugs or consumerism. That's why we wanted to highlight what's really happening, but what still exists and what is the strength. And the reason why for the layering, say the rock, it's on the bottom because it's closer to the earth and everything starts at the root. That's where we always give thanks, is for the land. That's where we start and where we begin. And the next one here is the sweetgrass and the medicine, so, and the feathers and the medicine wheel, because it represents that circle of life and it's that continuation, and it's, you're carrying up, and the top one obviously here is because, so right here, this cloud. So when I was saying earlier that we believe we come from the stars, we come from the universe, and our ancestors are up in the sky, and that's where they carry our stories, that's where they carry our languages, and also that's how they express themselves, is through those lights, those aurora borealis. When you go outside and you see them moving, and I have been to places where they have been so close where I feel like I could touch them. Like I've been to Tuktoyaktuk and up in Northwest Territories. And when you're that close, they make sounds. They go, and it sounds like music. So you feel the power from them, and I can't even describe that feeling, but you feel so connected with like your ancestors in that way. And to me, that it's just like, it's extremely comforting. But everything to the sky, the creator, is our highest form. The thing that we give most thanks to is the creator. So that's why the universe up top, the ancestors, because that's where we all go. We start from here, from the ground, but we always go back up.
As per the other pieces, the one that were made in 2017, there's not much order because we are a mess anywhere we put us. You know? So it's just like, right now in this piece in particular, I put like the peace sign on the top. It was just the end before, as a sign of all the pieces that we made together. It's bringing that up there, and at the very top there is a hope of bringing peace and bringing a victory for everybody, not just for the. So on this particular piece, I changed the hands to peace because that's what the healing of the tree piece is inspired by indigenous people and Ashley. So that's the only thing I changed. The rest is, and actually another thing that I put are like the ladybugs. As you see, there is a ladybug here. And funnily, on the night between Saturday and Sunday, the piece has been armed, has been vandalized by somebody, and it created like a big crash on the back of the first piece on the bottom. And but you know, whenever bad things happen, there's always a solution if you see that deep down. So that piece now has a ladybug, a bigger ladybug on the whole, and it looks like nothing happened. And the ladybug has a very dear meaning for me, for her too, and is actually what connected us on the first sight. So I think it had to happen in a way. I know that Angelino, Sergio just worked very hard. They made an incredible work, and I see it. I was devastated on Sunday, and now I'm very happy to have that ladybug there because it means a lot. It means a transformation, you know. And I actually made a video and thanked whoever just damaged and vandalized it, which he didn't even understand that sculpture, it wasn't mine, neither Angelino's, it was everybody's sculpture for this week. So he vandalized his own sculpture as well. So
it's like, thank you for letting me add more to it now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You're welcome.
But yeah, the ladybug, do you want to tell them what it represents to you? So for me, like my grandmother, my Kukum in my language, she passed away, but she loved ladybugs, and she always told me like she would show up and remind me that they're here as ladybugs. And when we first started talking, I remember these two ladybugs landing on my finger, and he started telling me about his grandpa is represented by ladybugs. So the two people that like basically raised us, taught us everything that we learned from, and that, you know, we really kind of like strive to make them proud as well. So to have that connection with us and to put it in that piece, it's like a piece of our family in there as well.
Because my granddad is an interesting story of mine. The way because before ladybug for me was like, you know, I'd feel like maybe a little bit like a ladybug. I'm a man, a little ladybug or something. You know, like it's a little bit, you know, like weird. But when my granddad passed, he was studying spirituality and ufology, UFO, and all like paranormal activities for his life. And I grew up like that, very spiritual, very deep. But I was also scared because he was telling me about manifestation and spirits and stuff. And I was like freaking out, you know. And then we had a deal. So we said, whoever gonna pass away first is gonna send a signal from the other side. And he said, of course it's gonna be me, son. It's not gonna be you. So the last days of his life were great, and were great for me because it really opened up like to that universe space and to the source, to the core. But then he passed, and I was scared because he's gonna come out, at night to do something to me. I was like, Jesus Christ. So I was sleeping at night for like 3 days with the light on, and it was winter, right? So it was winter and snow. We never snow in. I'm from Civitanova Marche, in the market, just the center. It never snow, and it was snow outside. I was going to the studio. When I was going back home, there was a ladybug in front of the door, and I'm like, what's this ladybug? So I was taking the ladybug and bringing it in, giving water because I thought maybe that's weird, and I was giving and I was keep doing this every day because when I was leaving the ladybug in the house, window closed, and I was going back home. The ladybug was in front of the house again. So how did it get out? So I just took like a dome, like a glass dome, and I put the ladybug under it. And just put in like leaves and stuff to drink under that. And that happened for 3 days. And one day, I was sleeping with the light on, whatever. I wake up in the morning, the light was off. So I didn't turn off. I didn't remember the light was off. And the fear of those kind of things completely disappeared, vanished. I say, my granddad can come here and like look at him and say, hey granddad, how you doing? I was like, fine. So I woke up and I went to prepare my breakfast and feed, like water to the ladybug under the dome. The ladybug wasn't there anymore. So I don't know how I get out of there. I've searched for the ladybug everywhere, and the ladybug wasn't there. So I look at the sky, actually at the roof, I was inside. And I say, thank you, Granddad. That's enough to just, understand there's something else there. And so that's why, when she ladybug stuff, and that's probably also like connected us so much. So, and it's on the piece, it's in many pieces of mine, especially this one because of her, part of it. Okay, that's a wrap. Thank you, guys. Thank you.